That's a service here.
Of course,
People flog their children, and when the children don't go in the cookie jar because they had a good flogging, the parents say, my children, boy, I tell you, boy, they know me. You see? But you know what? Those children ain't change, you know, they're frightened for the blow. But if they could be sure that you were not wrong, they would eat the cookie jar and all. I believe in creating a good atmosphere between yourself and someone and letting them know, I know you did wrong and it hurts me that you did wrong, but I am willing to give you that chance to make amends. You do that not only by words but by your very actions. If the child fails that test, then you have got reasons to put your foot down. But otherwise, you may find that you convert a reptile into a pet.
John, and my point is this. Yes, the person has to suffer the consequences for what they have done.
And they did when they went to prison.
Yes. No, well, I mean, you can't give them prisoners. You can't treat a prisoner as if this is a fancy hotel that you come into. I am saying that prison is supposed to be a place that you must never want to go back. You punish them, and while you punish them, you try to reform them. And while reforming them, they must know that you will reform them and you will teach them the way not to come back, not to return here, but they will have to be punished. And if you return here, this is going to be the consequences for returning here. You must go back out now and tell your friends or tell anybody close to you, this is not a place for any human being to come. Yes, I have learned this, I've studied this, and I'm now a changed person, but I have suffered tremendously in prison. When I came out of society, society did not want to accept me, and society will be quite right. People will be quite right. You can't just embrace a person with open arms who come out of prison. It's come like if you are rewarding that person for the crime they commit.
Let me ask you something, Leon.
There must be extreme consequences.
Let me ask you something, Leon.
Yeah.
If you had to set up a module or something sort of a program for prisoners, what would you recommend? Flogging, hard labor, starvation? What would you recommend that would determine, but I never want to go back inside there again? Sleeping on the concrete, not giving them a blanket, and when you come on morning and they don't go to a shower, you take a bucket and throw some water on them. What would you do that, oh boy, I would never go back in there? What would your program be?
Well, it must send the message you have committed a crime, and the punishment for your crime should be, you should get an adequate punishment for your crime.
I heard that, but I want you now.
Listen. Yes, I'm coming to that. I am saying to you that punishment will be according to your crime. The punishment is not going to be the same for every crime. Okay. Different kinds of crimes, different. It will be in category. Okay.
A fella snatch.
Yes. A fella snatch a purse. Not right. You cannot be the same for a fella who rape or rob a person and murder them.
Tell me what you would do with a fella who rapes. Tell me, you are the prison thing. You're in the hierarchy of the prison. You are setting out a penalty charge. Okay, this fellow raped a girl. Tell me what would his program be? He's in there for 6 months. Let me hear what this program would be from day one until he has...
Well, I don't want to do that, but I'll tell you this.
Well, no, I want
his program. His program would be hard. His program has to be... It will have to met with the same kind of violence. You committed your crime, there will be some form of violence. So I don't know. Let me just put it as some kind of punishment. A punishment is appropriate.
You mean somebody should rape him?
No. Come on. No. I am saying to you the punishment should be harsh. If once you committed violence against a person when committing a crime, when you go into prison, after receiving your sentence, you should receive punishment that is adequate to the crime you commit.
Okay. If you stand up with both arms in the air and tie his wrist, and then you beat him and throw
no, I didn't exactly say that. Come on, it's a bit. I'm generalizing here. I've been generalizing.
I am not being facetious. All I want to know is, what is this severe thing you will do that he would never want to go back in there? Just give me an idea, because okay, we're the ones at the hierarchy in the prison. We are setting out the program, you and I. Let me hear what you would do for this fellow who raped. Give me an idea of what his program would look like.
He should have a program. His program should be, one, a severe punishment that he must regret. Maybe a long, hard sentence. No, I don't believe in starving the prisoner, but I don't believe in giving him the kinds of comfort in prison that someone who snatch a purse or steal a neighbor orange should have. That those crimes should consider petty crimes, and the form of punishment for that.
I want to know a fellow who rapes. What would you set about? How would you roster his program? 2 lashes every day?
Well, if it comes to that, I know I don't want to say specifically, but I am saying he should suffer. The consequences for such a crime should be very harsh. Now, I just generalize.
Amputate his penal member.
Well, if that law is in effect in the country or the state in which he committed that crime, I agree in crying it out. I'm not saying I will do that, but if that's the law for committing such a crime, I believe in crying it out. And listen to me. When doing that, all you have to do, you can't say laws are harsh. Just don't. If, for instance, people talk about death penalty and long sentence for, all you have to do is not commit the crime, There should be no discussion. There should be no discussion about abolishing things like death penalty and so on, All you have to do is not commit a murder, and you will not even be considered facing the death penalty. That's all you have to do. There should be no debate about abolishing the death penalty and things like that. All you have to do is
let me ask you something,
I am saying this. Let me finish. Let's make this point.
Yeah.
If you have a punishment, the same punishment for murder, and you have the same punishment for one who steals a car or a robbery, the same punishment for murder, and the same punishment for like someone break home to your house and steal. If that person you confronted with that individual when he break up your house, he's going to face the same punishment as if he were committing a murder. He's more likely to kill you. If you know that the punishment will be less than someone who commits a murder, he may not look to kill you. Because once you see him, and he know that he's going to suffer the same consequences as if he committed a murder, he's more likely to kill you. So that I am saying to you that the punishment for crime in prison should not be the same for all crimes.
But that is not an argument between us, because I richly agree with you there. That is not my point. My point that I've been asking you all night, and you have not yet answered. What would you do with someone who has raped someone? What would you have to write out in a log what his punishment will be. You said you don't believe in starving him. What will it be? You would castrate him? What would it be? Would you take off his penis? what would it be? What would you do that he would never want to come back in there? Because that's what you've been saying. He never want to come back in there again. What would you do to bring about that?
Well, see, you got to do something, yes. If you have to put them away for this. See, you asked me a question that and you really put me in the spot to do that. I am not an expert in giving people punishment for crime. But I will agree that if you could put away the person for life, you know, keep that person out of society in some way or the other. But if I to say a specific punishment, all I will recommend that you give him a punishment that he may never end up back in society to repeat that such a heinous crime again.
Well, okay, let me show you something. When you put a fella in prison for life, the first thing that you've done is to deprive him of an earning power. And the state has to feed him. Now, when we look at cost-benefit analysis, it is going to cost the state a lot of money to pay a guardian. It is going to cost the state to find sojourn for him to rest. It is going to cost the state to feed him. It is going to cost the state to get him clothing. It is going to cost the state to maintain him because you have taken away his earning power and he cannot work for himself. So you've got to feed him. Take it that you got 50 of those in a prison. You got 50 of those to completely think because you're giving them life in prison because he raped someone. I am not for one moment saying that raping is something, oh, you can look over that. No. What I'm saying is this. If you went and you bought a new car from the garage, I wouldn't name a car, but a new car, and when you took it home, you got up tomorrow morning and find that it wouldn't start. Obviously, you're going to take it back to the place because you got a guarantee on it. But do you know that if a simple thing like one of the plug wires was dislodged, that car ain't going to work properly? And just put that thing back on, that plug wire back on, and the car will work beautifully. When people commit these crimes, there are reasons why they do it. It is not always that this is a wicked fella. Sometimes there are situations which a fella is unable to help himself. For instance,
John,
go ahead.
John, you talk about if the state must, that person, while they're in prison, they must also too, you could create a situation where they must also get in activities that they will maintain their own self and they will not be an expense of the state.
But you cannot, you cannot force people to work.
Of course.
Gone are the days when you could, from the bar, a fellow would hear that you are in here with hard labor. That went out of the window. So a fellow will voluntarily go to any group that they've got inside there, occupational therapy. Well, you can't put a fellow inside there for hard labor. He's got to go now and furrow ground.
Yes, and I'm saying yes.
Where you do handicapping?
Yeah.
We do that handicapping.
Well, if we don't do it, we are wrong. I am saying we are wrong.
I remember when that went through the window. People used to be in prison for hard labor.
They still have hard labor. Okay?
Really? Well, I was aware of that. Not at Barbados.
Okay, well, that's in Barbados, but it's still hard labor. Because when there are a number of instances where you see prisoners on truck doing all sorts of things. Now, listen to me, sir. Listen to me.
Voluntary something which they...
Listen to me. And that is very wrong. I think when you are in prison, you commit a crime there, you do as you're told. You don't do what you think you should do and say, I want to be in this group or that group, or I want to commit to this program or that program. You should have no choice. Once put here by the judge or the magistrate, you have to do as you're told. And that's the way it's supposed to be.
But there's discipline in the prison. There is discipline. It's simply that you don't just take people and say, well, you will do this and you will do it. People understand that you obey your superiors. You don't rebel. But what I'm saying is
they're doing a lot. There's a lot of rebellion in prison.
I mean, I would still want to. We may not get anywhere with this. We probably got to leave it off at this because remember we said that we can come back next week and carry on and whatnot. But we only got as far as the criminal element, and you have run the rules with the penal aspect of it. I am looking at rehabilitation in the prison, and then when people come out, to be able to show them that arm of welcome that you can take them back in and let them prove themselves. But if you ostracize them from the very beginning, don't come here unclean, you're a leper, unclean, what would you expect? You are not creating any good rapport between yourself and these people. Us and there.
That is not my job.
And that is not for you. What? But you contribute. You can contribute to that with your own children and run them from your house.
John, you just come out and make 20, you just completed a sentence for 20 years rape and robbery.
But
right?
And you spent 20 years so you understood that you have been punished for what you did and you had to accept the punishment. 20 years in prison. When you come out, now let us give you a chance to see if you have gained anything from being for 20 years. But if I do that,
I think you've been unfair. I think you've been unfair to society. You've been unfair to society. You've been definitely unfair to society for society to just accept a person who just come out and serve a long prison sentence and welcome back this person with open arms. I think you've been definitely unfair. I am saying.
Let's kill them.
That person. Whilst it was in prison, they would have educated themselves so much to know that they're not going to walk back into welcome arms. They would have educated them. They would have known that by now.
Do you know that if you make things uncomfortable for people, you do not create any good rapport between yourself and that person? That you widen the gap.
I know that, John. I know that. What I'm saying to you, I'm saying to you, John, you committed a crime. You did that to yourself.
You had 20 years. Did not have. You spent 20 years in prison. You know what? 20 years, your freedom taken away from you.
Who take it away? You made the choice to be in prison. You didn't take. Nobody just put you in prison. You commit a crime that lands you there.
And that is why.
Nobody can walk out in the street and say, come in prison here for 20 years.
Okay, so the person doesn't come out and say, I'm going to kill who make me go in there. They accept that I was wrong and I spent 20 years. That is an effort that they have made. And any effort should be recognized and respected.
What effort they have made? They didn't make no effort. There was force there. What they did, they were sent there by the system for the crime they committed. They didn't make no effort to go. They didn't voluntarily go into prison.
Why then, when they came out, they didn't get a lawyer and sue the government?
Because they can't.
Because they understood I did something wrong and I had to pay a penalty. 20 years.
Right, and there's no provision in law.
I've done that. What more you want me to do? I have paid the price for what I did. And it should be respected. Give them a chance now to prove themselves. Don't ostracize them right away as you see them coming up the road, or you see, clean. You can't do that. It is insensitive, cruel, and unkind.
And see, that is the point. You must not give them a chance. They come out with the intention. You see, they come out with the intention. You must not give them a chance. I've served 10 years, 5 years, whatever. You have to give me a chance. No. And that message you send in there is a wrong message. They will now have to come out with the knowledge that they're going to suffer. They're still going to suffer psychological and mental stigmatization society is still going to have a stigma on them. You are coming out with a stigma because you choose to break the law. You bring that upon yourself. You should be told that in prison. You can't ask me not to accept you. I don't owe you anything.
But you took 20 years inside there bearing that.
That's
and very well. I was outside feeling happy that justice has been done.
Yes.
I was feeling happy that justice has been done. Now when they come out, what am I still going to do? Murder them? No. Did they not pay 20 years of their freedom for what they did? Don't they deserve a chance now to prove themselves? That's all I'm asking. To prove themselves that they have learned something. And if you don't give them that chance to prove themselves, what are you complaining about? Give them a chance. You don't know what they will do now. I'm not saying that you sit down and close your eyes and don't take precautions, but at the same time don't make it obvious you are unclean. I don't mind what you can do, you're unclean. Don't come near me. Don't do that. You don't say it, but by innuendo, you live it. And people feel those vibes. You know, I think perhaps we could hear what the callers want to say.
Well, let's go for a break and then we'll come back to discuss it, because I totally disagree with you. I could never accept the point you're making. I will never accept that point. So let's go for a break.
Fair enough. I mean, we need to respect each other's view. And I am staying where I am. You're staying where you are. I think they need a chance to prove themselves.
And I'm saying it's unfair for you to ask me to give them that chance. So let's go for a break and then come again.
Okay, fine business.
This is CCB Radio and you're listening to Tell It Like It Is.
Tell It As It Is, with your hosts, Leon George and Leary McRae.
Real talk, real issues.
Welcome back to Tell It Like It Is on the #1 internet station around CCV Radio. Now, just before we go to the break, I and John was discussing a very contentious issue about rehabilitation. And I can say we are very far apart on this issue of rehabilitation. John was making the point that when a person comes out of prison after serving a sentence, we should give them a chance. Now, I want to make it clear. I'm not disagreeing with that. But what I am saying, John, it is quite normal for them to come out with a stigma and for society to stigmatize them. It is normal. And I am saying that is part of the consequences that one will have to suffer when they transgress the law, when they break the law. They must know that. They must never come out of prison expecting open arms for society to embrace them with open arms. It's unfair. It's really unfair. You're asking too much on the society. And you really should not be doing that for someone who come out of prison. That telling them it is wrong when society stigmatizes you. They should be telling them that is normal. Because of the crime you have committed, you are going to be stigmatized, whether you like it or not, whether it is right or wrong. It is normal for people to place you into a certain category. It is up to you now. They should be learning how to deal with such a situation. Okay? And that is my point. I am not against a person getting a second chance. What I'm against is that we send a message that a person should be rewarded for the crime that they commit. Let me give you an example, John. There was an ad a few weeks ago on a local radio station here where a young lady who had committed a murder, she and a group of friends, a gruesome murder where they robbed a taxi driver. He was thrown into the sea or something like that. He swam back out. They waited for him and slit his throat to make sure he died. Recently, this lady was on the air because of some program that they had in prison, where the prison opened a registration or something. And what this young lady was saying, the part of the the promo that they was playing, this young lady was saying, if it wasn't for my downfall in life, I will have never realized my true potential. Now, what kind of message that individual is sending? That only if you commit a crime, you will realize your true potential? Now, there was a lot of just trying to justification for what the person was saying and saying that people heard part of the message, but still, I still disagree that you're promoting something and that's the only strategy promote you could have played. And for someone to even hold that view and send that message out, because of my downfall in life, I will never realize my true potential. That sounded like a reward. That sounded like a reward for a criminal. You sounded like a reward in a criminal.
But that's not a reward, Leon. That is that the person has now realized by making a mistake that they have learned. Well, suppose I said to you that it is a wonderful thing that Satan is a deceitful creature because we learn how to trust God. Because of his deceitfulness, we learn how to trust God. And if somebody said, well, look, because of what I did, I now know my true potential. Because I now know that what I did, I didn't have to do, and I'm now realizing that I could live without doing something like that. You learn by your mistake. A mistake is a wonderful thing. We learn by our mistake and other people's. I am not encouraging anybody to go and make a mistake, but when you make them, you learn by them.